Yo, what's up everybody? Good morning, good morning. And I'm behind. It's just plain and simple facts right now. So we gotta go. My car's just on. You heard me turn it on. I think I had you listen to me turn it on. I don't even know. But I do know that I'm on my way to work. It is 7:50 in the morning. I'm supposed to be opening with my store manager, which should be fun, especially in the morning when I know that she has a lot to do. It's exciting to see what the expectation versus amount of time you have is. Because usually what will happen is that oh, that totally did that. Son of a gun. I had to windshield. Oh my gosh. When did I wash my car? Like 2 days ago? Like 2 days ago, right? I washed my car. Well, over here in Chula Vista, it's sprinkled for whatever reason. And since it's sprinkled, I had to dry down my car, but I don't know that I did a good job because my windshield still was infected. My roof was kind of wet. My windshield now looks horrible. I don't know what to talk about, so let me go ahead and go to work. I will team up with you guys after work, to which I should have Vicente. So, fast forward to that. Yo, what's up everybody? So I'm actually on my way to likely go get something to eat with Vicente, but I just wanted to share an experience that I had with him right now, which would have technically been probably about 30 minutes ago because it's now 8:30 in the late afternoon and the evening. And about 8 o'clock I was like, all right, let's go. And I asked Vicente to put on his shoes, which I normally do. Again, Vicente's shoes are pretty much slip on because I have them already laced up. He doesn't have to struggle at all, and he just slips his shoes on. The difficulty is where he's used to getting weighted on hand and foot when he's with his mom. I'm assuming because he breaks all the practices that we've worked on when he's with me, and that is one of them, where he puts on his own shoes. Technically right now he's struggling with putting on his own shirt, only because he tends to try to put on his shirt the way that he has people put it on for him. So I try to put it on where it goes over his head first, and then he puts on his arms, but he struggles with putting his arms through. But as long as he puts it through his head, like the shirt through his head, I'm cool. Like, that shows me that he's working towards understanding that I call it an essential functionality of being a human, right? You're gonna put your clothes on, but it's just like one of those things that he's learning. Well, putting on his shoes is one of those things. So he had actually been with his mom in the morning, and I don't know what might have happened from the previous night to this morning, where my mom picked him up, and then when I got home, we were in the bed, and I was like, all right, you know what, let's just go eat something. I was like, I don't really feel like making chicken and trying to cook something else. I was like, let's just go out to eat. I'm gonna take you somewhere, just me and you, dude. And he's got excited. I was like, put your shoes on. And he literally went to baby mode. And from that point, I was just like over it. I was like, no, dude. I was like, you know how to put your shoes on. Put your shoes on. And I walked him through the cycle. I was like, when you put your shoes on, what do you do? I was like, what do you need? I was like, you need to get your shoes, right? I was like, where are your shoes? So he grabbed his shoes, he grabbed his shoes and he started to put his shoes on, but he started to put them on backwards. But I know my son knows better because we go over which shoe goes to which foot. That's how we all started off. And that's how we all started off. That's how we started off. So as I was going through explaining to him, I was like, all right, Vicente, I was like, which shoe? And so he shows me the right shoe, but then he tries to put it on the other foot, trying to be funny. And I was like, okay, so do you want to go? I was like, is it just that you want to play? I was like, we can sit here and we can play, or do you want to go eat? And so he gets upset, and when he gets upset, he does this thing, and I know that you've probably seen it on some of my vlogs where he goes, And so he throws, basically letting me know he's not satisfied or he's not happy with how I'm handling the situation. So I let him know that I'm the one handling the situation, so I'm not happy with him. So I tell him, Vicente, I was like, I need you to put your shoes on. If you don't put your shoes on, we're either gonna stay here, and I was like, and we're not gonna go anywhere. I was like, or option number 2 is for the old school parents. I don't need to explain to you what I do with my son, but for the most part, it ended up at option number 2. And when we got to option number 2, it was already after another 15 or so minutes of me and him trying to conversate, but he was already frustrated. And so at the end of it, I told him, I was like, all right, look, so at this point, I need you to put your shoes on or we're not going anywhere. I'm gonna change your shirt. I was like, I'm not gonna put your shirt on though until you start, until I see that you're about to start putting on your shorts and you're gonna stop crying. I was like, because usually when my son starts to cry, me and him have a conversation. I was like, it's only me and you here. I was like, there's no need for you to be this frustrated. You don't need to cry. I was like, we need to suck it up, and we need to move forward. And so usually I'll tell him some sort of that verbiage, but most of the time it is literally suck it up. And so we're going through and we're like motioning for me to take off his shirt, and after I take off his shirt, for whatever reason he snaps out of it. I take off his shirt, I put the shirt to the side, he snaps out of it and puts his shoe on. I was like, are you serious? I was like, the point of the story is, the moral of the story is this, is that being a co-parent to a separated family under whatever circumstance, because I guess that doesn't really matter, under whatever circumstance, if you have two parents that are nurturing a child or raising a child at different rates of speed, it will be conflicting for your child, and it will be hard for them to break that mold, because they're going to either side with either what is more beneficial to them or what is easier for them, and oftentimes that's not going to always be what's best for them. So as I was going through and motioning with him and telling him, let me turn on the AC, and telling him that, explaining to him how I needed him to try and do his part. The moral of what it was that I was trying to get at was that it's very difficult to be a co-parent when you guys are working towards the same goal at different rates of speed. It's sort of like what we talked about when people are in relationships and they're at different stages of their life. It's not always able to work out. As a matter of fact, it usually isn't able to work out, and it's very, very conflicting when you guys are trying to work towards the same thing but at different rates of speed or at different time frames in your life. And it's the same thing for a child. It's very, very frustrating for him, and I know that, but it's always best for him to snap out of whatever kind of babying that his mom is doing, so that I could raise him and turn him into what it was that we had originally left at. And it's very difficult to understand, but at the same time, having so much CDC knowledge, or having worked in the CDCs for like years, when I was I would say 7 years I worked in child development, and had to go through continuous classing and schooling of how the child how they work, right, and what their psyche is like, and how you are able to build their self-esteem over underdevelop them, if depending on how much you do for them. And it's like right now my son's mother is a crutch and keeping him a baby because she never sees him, and it's not fair to him, where she should be raising him, or she's setting him back for when he comes to me, like I'm just like trying to knock him out of it or snap him out of it, however you want to phrase it. And it gets frustrating. And I think that if you're a co-parent, if you're a parent, your interest should always be invested in developing your son or your daughter at any age group, right? Even if you can't compete with the math that they're doing, that means it's time for you to hit the books and try to develop your own knowledge to be able to explain to them and help them understand and develop them. It's just the way it is, right? Well, unfortunately for me, right now my son's learning his ABCs, his 1, 2, 3s, how to go pee, and how to put on his shoes and his clothes. So I'm able to teach him those things because I know those things. So I just have to be very patient. But at the same time, if you're a co-parent and you have the opposite end, like holding your child back, or not developing your child in the way that they need it, not nurturing the child in the way that they need it, at some point you have to just sit down with your co-parent and just be realistic and say, look, this is where I'm at. I don't know developmentally where you're at with our son or daughter, but at this point it feels like every single time I'm getting him back, or when I pick him up, or when he's with me, it really feels like this is what the challenges are. And we already know these things. He does these things. I don't know if he does those things with you, but will you please help me to try to get him to start doing those things with you, because he does know how. And it's just all about the communication. Again, at the end of the day, everything's about communication, especially when it comes to raising your child, especially even if your kid's in school. It's all about communication with the teacher, communication to see what it is that they're learning, what it is that the rate of speed that your child is learning, how well or how academically inclined is your son or daughter, or where it is that they're falling short, where it is that they need extra help. All of those things are your concern, because at the end of the day, those things are reflected on you and what you're doing and what you're investing. So the only thing that I can do in these moments is share them with you, because I felt like it was important for you to know that I go through struggles with my son, and I wish that I would have been able to be vlogging, throwing the drone up when the sun was setting over there in the nice areas of East Lake, but I wasn't able to, because I was right there battling with my son in a real father-son situation that just kind of sucked. But at the same time, it's just realistic. It happens. So I just wanted to explain to you what it was that I did, how it was that I handle it, what it is that I think of, what it is that I do, and how it is that I'm gonna follow up. Because I do think that everything to do with parenting is all about follow-up. I mean, at the end of the day, I know my son knows how to put on his shoes. Anytime that he's not putting on his shoes, he's probably just bamboozling whoever it is that he's doing it to. But it's not gonna be his dad. He ain't gonna put one over on me. Never. Ever, ever. Ever, 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 ever. Yeah? Yeah? Oh.